entrepreneurial spirit and the willingness to fail continues to be a driving force.
I prefer this stuff.
With Bob Haas as our fearless leader, we sort of have a history of taking sort of the non-conventional ideas. And one of the great things I think about Bob Haas is that he always likes to cite stories when he failed.
One example would be a product we called Spikes, invented in 1958. These were polished cotton pants for men in the exact colors of orange, lemon, and lime Jell-O brand gelatin.
And it makes you feel good that, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. If we're not making mistakes, we're probably doing something wrong.
Well, now these, as you could imagine, did not go over very well, and I believe that after a few years they were over-dyed black and sold to a Fort Worth wholesaler for about 50 cents a pair.
Today's digital technologies continue to redefine the way marketers reach their audiences. At Levi Strauss, new media opportunities have opened the door to an expanded consumer base.
And no longer do they have to wait for a 30-second commercial as the only place that they're going to get a message from Levi Strauss or from the Gap or from the VF Corporation, but in fact can go to a website and come to the Levi's brand at 2 in the morning and understand what products are being offered, what opportunities are there for me as a consumer, what can I buy, what promotions are there, where do I find the product.
The internet and websites are providing expanded access to the international marketplace and raising new questions for the marketing professional.
If there's such a thing as a global consumer, what motivates them? What do they like? What do they want? What are they interested in? And how can we communicate with them? How can we offer things that are of interest to them? Clearly, we're not sure what's going to happen in the future, but we do know that how consumers process information, how they access brands is radically changing, and we need to understand really that new dynamic.
Levi's wide leg jeans. It's wide open.
The denim industry is crowded with designer brands, new competitors, and established manufacturers that are re-entering a lucrative market. Some of Levi's retail partners are even introducing their own line of jeans, adding another level of competition.
I think what it comes down to is there are a lot of choices. I think that whoever comes out with the best product and is clearest about who they are and what their brand stands for has the best chance with consumers these days.
Levi Strauss is taking a close look at where they place their message and the nature of the competition.
But I think our concern as marketers really shouldn't be just around who are the apparel competitors, but really who are the competitors for a consumer's mindshare. We've been thinking more and more about that, but it's companies like Virgin, companies like Disney, companies like Sony, companies like MTV. So if we just focused on who the jeans manufacturers are or who the other apparel manufacturers are, I think we'd get quickly leapfrogged by all these other companies that are competing for a share of the consumer mind.
You know those pants that make a first impression? That leads to a second impression. These are those pants. These are slates.
With so many voices directed at the consumer, it's imperative that messages be targeted as well as consistent. Levi Strauss employs a technique known as integrated marketing communication.
Integrated marketing is absolutely, from my perspective, critical to anything that a marketer does. But integration is not, it's an easy thing to say and a very difficult thing to achieve. If you take somebody like the Levi's brand, integrating that brand across all communications is absolutely, has been and will continue to be the biggest challenge. What is that strong theme? What is that priority of information that you want to deliver? And then hammer that home throughout any medium that you're talking to, throughout any opportunity you have to communicate with the consumer.
We consider ourselves a very marketing-driven company, and I think that what we've done over the last several decades, almost a century's worth, has worked. We are the original jeans manufacturer, and Levi's are the original jeans.
This is just another example. Actually,
This was a board for the jeans that I have on. I like to wear our product.
As far as the Protégé nameplate, we have a nameplate established out there that's associated with a 4-door subcompact sedan. We wanted to change the position of the vehicle in the marketplace. You know, our intentions in developing this product were to appeal to a younger buyer and to appeal to a more active and spirited buyer. So we needed to adjust our entry-level vehicle so that it was more attractive to younger, newer buyers that were coming into the franchise.
Mazda began selling cars in the U.S. in 1970, and the cornerstone of their marketing activity at the time was the rotary engine. Their first success came with the GLC in 76, 77. From there, sales were strong up into the late 80s, and then the economy went south, and sales went south for them as well. And they really didn't pick up again until 1997, and they are on an upswing again. Typically, most automotive advertisers have 3 tiers of marketing and advertising activity. Tier 1 is their brand or national activity. Tier 2 is their dealer association activity, which is more retail-oriented, and then the third level is the actual individual dealership advertising. Donor was invited to pitch the Mazda business because of our experience with Ford Dealer Association advertising, combined with our understanding of brand advertising through clients such as Coca-Cola, British Petroleum, and Lazy Boy.
When they came aboard, the first project that Donor worked on was the introduction of the new Miata, the latest generation of the Miata. Shortly after that, this new Protégé model was the next vehicle that was being introduced. In our product development roles, what we've done is identified, you know, kind of the key brand DNA, so to speak, and what we've identified, we were using 3 words, a stylish, spirited, and insightful, to describe what we want the Mazda brand to be.
The Protégé competes in what Mazda defines and most automakers define as the subcompact sedan segment. And some of the competitors for Protégé, Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, are names that are almost synonymous with quality, durability, and reliability. So the Protégé was going to basically have to conquest sales and to basically win, you know, get people to not buy a Corolla, not buy a Civic, and buy the Protégé. The subcompact sedan segment is not what you'd call usually a destination segment. In other words, people tend to come in and out of it, and they tend to come into it when they're younger and less affluent. And it's a segment that has been, again, stable around 2 million units, but it isn't growing like an SUV segment has gone, you know, just grown explosively. So it's pretty stable. So if you're going to increase your sales in that market, you're going to have to take them from somebody else.
The Protégé had prior to the current Protégé, the buyer of that Protégé was typically a retired person, somebody looking for a second or third car, much older demographic, and it wasn't seen as a young person's car. And Mazda recognized that, you know, for them to succeed in the future, you've got to get people into the car at a younger age, at a younger life stage, so that they can move on into the other product line. So with this new vehicle, there was a concerted effort to make it appeal to a younger set. They're coming out of college, they don't have any commitments in their lives yet, they're not looking for a long-term relationship or anything like that, or something that's high maintenance. And that actually came out into the line that we used in the launch advertising, which was a change from your high maintenance relationships. They're not into the Civics, they're not into the Corollas. They want something that's a little more self-expressive, a little more stylish, a little more individualistic. And that's really how we position the Protégé as a vehicle for young, succeeding individuals looking to live life on their own terms.
One of the first things we did is we worked with Mazda to develop a new